Certain characters in science fiction have at times made us want to punch a wall. Might it be the weaponized migraine that is Ruby Rhod from the movie Fifth Element, or the eye-rolling embarrassment that is Jar Jar Binks from the Star Wars franchise. There are characters that have gone down in history as being the most annoying characters ever written for science fiction, or in some cases even fiction in general. Star Trek is a franchise that fires on all cylinders. It strives to be groundbreaking in many avenues, exploring not just space but existence as a whole. But it often trips at the finish line with finding a balance between being a survival adventure drama set in space to being a light-hearted situational comedy, also set in space. Though Voyager is my favourite Star Trek series, I am definitely not blind to its flaws and its inconsistent tone, but I am rather confused as to why one character in particular is not only one of the most hated Star Trek characters ever, but is also considered one of the most annoying characters in all of science fiction. Neelix was voted the 4th worst character in all of Star Trek, and is even referred to as the Jar Jar Binks of the franchise. From what I've read, a lot of the hate stems from his admittedly creepy relationship with Kes, who is an Ocampan, an alien race that only lives 9 years. Kes herself is not even 2 years old at the beginning of the series, so yeah, I can see how people could find this creepy. Often seen as Voyager's annoying jester instead of the sad clown he actually is, at least to me anyway, Neelix is a short, plump, unkempt alien who adopted an air of cultivated elegance and charm that is at odds with his seedy appearance at times. A noble-hearted being, a survivor, who wheels and deals his way through life, but would never harm a fly in the process. To me, there wasn't much in the way of direct abuse in Neelix and Kes's relationship, but there was enough hinted at with the issues the Ocampan were going through to hint at something rather sinister. Neelix obviously thought there was a relationship there since he got jealous of Tom Paris on multiple occasions, and when Kes was prematurely forced to go through the elogium, the Ocampan version of puberty, he was being talked into performing with her to produce a child. I don't know what the Federation laws are on age of consent, but the mind reels at how any species that has a lifespan even twice that of Kes would consider their relationship alright. Coupled with the general disdain many fans have for Neelix and his somewhat slimy reputation, it's easy to believe that there was perhaps a darker motivation to this relationship, one aimed at taking advantage of her naivety at the goings-on of the wider universe. Though a part of me feels that Kes may have reminded him of his late sister, Alexia, who died along with the rest of his family. The first line we hear Neelix say direct to Kes is, "My dearest, didn't I promise I'd save you?" Kes appeared in a nightmare Neelix had when remembering a girl he found after the Metron Cascade on Rhinax, in which his family was killed. So maybe in a way this wasn't really a romantic relationship, but was more of a kinship stemming from Neelix's post-traumatic stress disorder, feeling like he needed to make amends for his failures of rescuing his family, and he saw that opportunity subconsciously in Kes, and a romantic relationship just spawned from that. For me, I think Neelix's overprotection of Kes stems from how he lost his family. Though the relationship is implied to be romantic, I feel that it is one-sided, and perhaps Neelix was subconsciously reminded of his sister Alexia, as Kes was very much the little sister type character in the show, and not so much a love interest. There is a childlike naivety in the character, but also a mature spiritual side that is nurtured over time. But Kes leaves Voyager at the beginning of season 4, so the relationship between Kes and Neelix only lasted 2.5 seasons, since Kes terminated the romantic relationship halfway through season 3. So what about the rest of the series? After Kes's departure, did Neelix's character improve? Well, I'd say that's for you to decide for yourself. For me, Neelix is a far deeper character than many fans remember, and I feel he gets far too much hate stemming from his questionable involvement with Kes, and the rest of his arc is ignored. He was one of the last characters to be developed for the series, which may explain a few things about his character being rather awkward to begin with. He was meant to be a successor to Deep Space Nine's Quark, a sort of sleazy trader with a sarcastic quip who smoozes up to his superiors. That sure was the case to begin with, especially how he cozied up to Tuvok from the beginning, parading his awe of the Starship Voyager around like an excited hamster. But as the show developed, it was the Doctor's character who became more of the pessimist, sarcastic one, with a lot of the comic relief. So Neelix was sort of adrift in the earlier seasons, being used as a writer's convenience whenever they came across a new planet or race. Of course, the writer's convenience later became Astrometrics Lab. Oh my god, that was so convenient. He managed to maintain his reputation for being a resourceful problem solver though. Being a pacifist, he had a knack for defusing conflicts and avoiding arguments. He even stood up to Q, a highly powerful entity from a race of godlike beings who with a snap of his finger could have erased Neelix from existence. Neelix tells him to leave the captain alone because Q was infatuated with Janeway at the time, and that the captain liked Neelix because he was respectful, loyal and sincere, qualities that a Q would never hope to possess. And the thing is, as much as this sounds self-serving and obnoxious for Neelix to say, he's right. Neelix is the most respectful, loyal and sincere character on Voyager, in spite of his shifty history. For me, that's a breath of fresh air. Though I think the main reason people find Neelix annoying is that he persistently annoys Tuvok, echoing the relationship between Spock and McCoy in a way, with the sarcasm and logic. They both annoy each other, but they were strong friends. Voyager wanted to capture the same dynamic with Neelix and Tuvok. You know, the odd couple dynamic. An overly cheerful Talaxian and an overly controlled Vulcan. Though, let's not talk about Tuvix. It is a silly episode. Neelix wasn't sarcastic, but he was persistent and ebullient, determined to crack Tuvok's outer shell. To some, it wasn't just Tuvok who was being tortured by Neelix, the audience were too, which is probably why he's one of the most hated characters from Star Trek. We relate too much to Tuvok's frustration, but this is also because we rarely see Neelix's frustration as Tuvok, because he hides it so well. Tuvok is incredibly condescending towards Neelix, but Neelix doesn't address this. However, this came to a head when Neelix does confront Tuvok about how he ridicules him and how he has no respect for him whatsoever. Tuvok does have a superiority complex that at times is justified in the show, since Vulcans are smarter, stronger than most species in the show. But as Neelix points out, Vulcans do not have any gut feelings, and they have very poor social skills in comparison to Neelix, who, when in a room filled with strangers, would be the first person to start a party. It's the odd couple dynamic, which is classic and well done here in my opinion, though it is a bit grating at times, especially in the episode Prophecy, when Tuvok and Neelix become roommates, which is a funny episode but is torture for Tuvok, and really pushes the odd couple trope in your face. However, the friendship became one of Voyager's crowning glories, especially in the episode Riddles. Tuvok loses his memory after an accident on an away mission, along with his Vulcan emotional self-control. Neelix takes it upon himself to rehabilitate Tuvok, and Tuvok, in return, reveals how he truly feels about their relationship, something he was unable to do before. It's actually a really touching episode. I do see why people find Neelix annoying, and I have to admit, there are moments I feel the same, but I do also feel that naming him the Jar Jar Binks of Star Trek, and him being one of the most hated characters in science fiction, is a bit extreme. There is far more to this character that a lot of fans seem to forget. His best moment to me is in the episode Day of Honor, when he approaches B'Elanna, who is picking sullenly at her food alone in the mess hall. Neelix makes a point to know about the race-specific traditions of every crew member and presents her a freshly prepared blood pie for her observance of the Day of Honor, a Klingon tradition. He does this for the Vulcans and the humans, and I assume for every other race depicted in the show. After seeing how she has trouble keeping her temper, he offers himself as a scapegoat for her. She can call him names and insult him as much as she wants, so she wouldn't have to keep her anger bottled up anymore. This is honestly to me Neelix's best moment in the show, since B'Elanna and Neelix don't actually have much of a bond other than being work colleagues. So for Neelix to do this just shows what an amazing person he is. Neelix to me was the heart of Voyager, a self-appointed morale officer on a ship that didn't have a counselor. He became a confidant for the majority of the senior officers, especially Captain Janeway. Love Neelix or hate him, or just find him annoying, you can make up your own mind about how you feel about Neelix, but to me, I am happy to know him. I'm Mad Munchkin. Stay creative. Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of this video. Just want to give a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. This month it includes Tilden Negrani, I hope I've said your name right, Rainbow Dash Fan, Tevin T. Jering, Risky Dragon, OLD, Seeker, Sanjay DK, DELC17, Transformer Brett, Invisible Gust, Picademus, CT Stormwing, CT0798, Mayan Jinx, Tristan N. Milner, Patronators, Kickit6, Nuki's the Name, The Wicked Merman, Frustrated Cartoons, Alex Hunter, Rongar, Unknown620, Charles Meeker, Seth Richards, Aces Wild, Mystic Mind, J-Rog 1989, Meg the Pict, Rocky Harmony, and Pedro Lopez. All of you guys will have received an invite to join my Discord server amongst other Patreon rewards. So if you're watching, want to support this channel and join my Discord server, find out how in the description below. Thank you so much for the support.